Alright, let's do a quick tutorial. This tutorial is the Batman transition, like the classic old school Batman transition. What you will need is a Batman PNG with the transparency around it preserved. You can get that off of Google easily. You will need the Batman transition sound effect, which is available to download off of YouTube. And you will need clips that you want to use on the transition, obviously, or you want to use the transition for. So let's just go ahead and get started. The first thing that you will want to do is go to the last frame of your first clip and go ahead and hit this button right here, or the keyboard shortcut for it if you prefer. And this dialog will open. Wherever you want to save it is fine. You can change it by clicking Browse, but make sure this is clicked. Import into project, and go OK, and go into your project, and that still image that you just imported will be highlighted. Drag it into the track above the clips where you want to do your transition, and line it up right so the first frame of the image is right against the last frame of your first clip. Then resize the image to where you want your transition to end. Next thing that you want to do is take the image, and we are going to want to get it to spin. For one thing, we wanted to do a few things, but spinning is one of them. So double click it, go into your effect controls, drop down motion, go to rotation, activate automatic keyframes. Make sure that you're on the first frame. Sorry, if you did what I just did there, then drag the keyframe back. That's a neutral keyframe, but it's a default one, so we're not changing the value. And we're going to go now to the end of that image, and we're going to drop another keyframe down, or it will do it automatically when we change the value. And we're going to want it to spin in a rotation many times. So I'm going to go ahead and, it's sort of a guess and check for speed, but I'm going to guess 4,500 degrees. Yours may be different depending on the duration. So let's just take a quick look at that. And that spin looks like it's spinning at about a good pace. The next thing we want to do is, you'll see how we have peeking through the edges of the overlay into the background image, and I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is use scaling keyframes to avoid that. I'm going to activate automatic keyframes for scale, 100% on the first frame, go to the last frame, or just kind of scrub through and find where it's the worst. So we have about the worst peeking through of the bottom layer here. So I'm going to just start scaling it until it goes away. Then I'm going to drag that keyframe right to the end. So now hopefully that will not be an issue anymore. And if we just kind of go through, I think it's okay now. Yeah, we might want to make it a little bit larger. So let's just go, there we go, and then drag that keyframe back to the end. So the spinning is done. So the next thing that we're going to want to do is put an increasing blur to it. So go back to the first frame of the image and go into your effects, and you're going to want to look for an effect called fast blur. Just type fast blur, and it's under video effects, blur and sharpen fast blur. Drag it onto the image, and you're going to want to activate automatic keyframes on it. Start with no blur and go to the last frame, and you're going to want to make it very blurry. About there. So now let's have a look at what it looks like. That's pretty cool. I don't like how hard the jump into the second clip is, so I'm going to solve that with opacity. I'm going to drag the playhead to where I want the fade out to kind of start, and I'm going to go in and back into the effect controls on the image selected, and the opacity automatic keyframes is already selected. I'm going to drop 100% one there and go to the last frame and make a 0% one to fade out. So you're kind of seeing that it's coming along a little bit. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I may as well drag our sound effect that you have imported from YouTube in. And now it's looking like that. And now the final step, or the final track, clip that we're going to bring in and on is the Batman PNG. So drag that on, and you're going to want the duration of the clip to be the same as your still image, and put it right on top of your still image. So we're going to use scale keyframes to have it zoom in and zoom out, kind of like it does on the original show. So drop down your motion control menu in the effect controls on the Batman logo, or whatever logo you want to use, really. And we're going to kind of select a starting point for the size of the logo, which I think should be about right there. We'll make sure that our automatic keyframes is selected, and then we will go to the middle of the transition and find a size that is going to work for the middle part of the transition. So I'm just going to go ahead and guess about 300%. And you may have to tweak that depending on the length of your transition, because you want to get a nice speed of in to out with the bat logo. I'm going to drop another keyframe at the end, which basically goes back to a small size, but not quite out to infinity. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to use opacity to fade it out anyways. So let's see what that speed looks like. I'd say that looks pretty good. So with the bat PNG, I'm going to put some opacity right on the end of it, just so it doesn't kind of snap out. Just because I like using opacity in basically all my effect transitions and almost everything, just because I don't like anything that's jarring, anything that's a hard change. Alright, so we're going to drop a 100% where we want it to start fading out, and a 0% where we want it to be fully faded out. And let's see what that looks like. Alright, and that's about it. That's all you need to do. So let's watch this fully. Oh, you bastard. Alright, so let's just watch what we did.
I had to get this abdominal ultrasound a few years ago.
And there you have it, a Batman transition. Thanks for watching.